Alright, hello guys. Welcome back to the first part of these notes. Hey, here's what I want us to do. Go ahead and open up a little thing in BlueJ right now, or JGrasp, whatever. You just need a main method. I want us to do something together with ArrayList. So once you have that open, and if you don't have it open, just pause, obviously. And what I want you to do is set up an ArrayList of integer objects. We could just call it nums or whatever. It doesn't even matter. And then what you're going to do is going to be an ArrayList of integers. Is you're going to fill it up. So let's just add a couple elements to it. So let's add in a 7. And let's add in 2. And let's add in 4. And then let's add in, I don't know, -9. And then let's go ahead and add in 0. So nums.add 0. Now, obviously, if you go ahead and print this out, it should be very simply just 7, 2, 4, -9, 0. And assuming I didn't completely botch this, that's what we have, 7, 2, 4, -9, 0. And we just have the dot add at the end of each of these. Okay, now here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause this video after I give the directions. But what we're going to do now is write a loop to go through and remove all the even numbers. So take out all the even numbers from this, so the 2, the 4, the 0, and you know, all the even numbers from nums. So you don't know what else to be in here. Just assume you're going to go through and loop and remove all the even numbers. Okay, go ahead and pause now. Okay, so what most of you probably did is you probably started by doing this, right? You started at 0, you went less than nums.size, and then you did an I++. And then what I asked you to do was to go ahead and remove the even. So check if number I is even. So hopefully you said, you know, if nums.getI, which is a number, if that %2 is 0, then I want to remove the object in spot I. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually, hold on. All right, anyway, so you remove the object in spot I. So what we're going to do is if we find an even one in spot I, we do nums.remove I. Okay, and then after we're done, of course, we're done with the loop. So then we'll go ahead and just print out our list. Now, some of you, I'm sure, were just shocked, astonished to discover that this didn't actually work. Like, the logic here seems so good, right? I mean, you go through, you look at everything, and then you just remove the object that's in the spot that has an odd number. Okay, but what you saw is when you ran this, you probably realized that it got rid of most of them, but not all of them, right? It got rid of the 2 and the 0, but not the 4. Why? So that's our first question. Why does this happen, and then how can we fix it? Okay, now to help answer the first question, let me draw something out for us here. So let's go through and take a look at this list. So you have the list. Let's say 7, 2, 4, 9, -9, sorry, 0. So what you're going to do is you're going to loop through, and let's take a look at each individual one. So when I is 0, is 7 even? No. Okay. When I is 1, is 2 even? Yes. So I'm going to remove the object that's in location 1. So then my list is 7, 4, -9, 0. Now my next time through the loop, I equals 2. But take a look at that. When I is 2, it just jumped straight over that 4, because originally these were labeled 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but now the numbering is shifted because I removed. Now that 4 is in spot 1 instead of the spot 2 was. So what happened was it jumped over spot 2. And in fact, there's nothing special about the numbers I put, right? This is always going to happen anytime you try to remove 2 numbers in a row that are the same. This will always happen. It's a constant issue. It's called the for loop removal issue. So let's get back to that and talk about how to fix it now. Okay, so this is huge. The for loop removal issue happens every single time you try to remove objects from a list. And you need to always be aware of this when you are calling the .remove method. And they're going to test this on the AP test. You should always be on the lookout. If they ask you to call .remove on an array list, always be aware of this. Okay, now you're wondering, how can I fix this? Well, one thing that you could do, and there are 2 ways to fix this, and I'm going to show you both of them. One thing you could do is when you remove, instead of jumping just like go back and do the same number again. So after you remove the object in spot 1, do an I minus minus. So change I to be 0, and then when you do I plus plus, gonna check spot 1 again. That's how I usually do this. So after I remove something, everything got shifted, so I'm gonna do an I minus minus, so I shift with it. That's my idea. Okay, so let's go back to our code here. So to deal with this issue, to make sure I don't skip an issue that I need to remove, I'm going to do an I minus minus every time right after I remove something from the list. So I'm going to do an I minus minus. So after I get rid of the 2, now I would normally be 2, but I'm going to set I back to be 0, and then this I plus plus will turn to be 1. So I'm going to check location 1 again. So when I'm down to the 7, 4, negative 9, 0, okay, I check spot 1, it's gone. Now I'm going to check spot 1 again and make sure I remove that. So that's, I think, the easiest way. Let's check this and make sure it works. And when I go ahead and test this, we do see that, in fact, now it removes everything. So there are 2 ways to remove it. 2 ways to deal with this. Either A, do I minus minus after you remove. Or B, and this is another tricky way you could do it, is you could just go through the loop backwards. So this is something, again, you always need to be aware of anytime you are doing remove. So another way you could do this is just change your loop. So instead of starting at the front, alternatively, you can start at the end. So just start at the end and go backwards every time, because it doesn't, when you re-index by removing, it doesn't change anything before that. Like, it removes the one at the end, but because I'm working from the end, it doesn't like do the thing where things get messed up, right? So when you have like 7, 2, 4, negative 9, 0, if you're going back at the end, okay, so you remove the 0, and then you have 7, 2, 4, negative 9. And because you're going backwards here, okay, now you remove the 4, and you have 7, 2, negative 9. And then again, you're still going backwards, now you remove the 2, right? Because your I is 4, and then I is 3, and then I is 2, and then now your I is 1, and that's what gets rid of that, and that's good. So that's why going backwards can work as well. And you don't need to do the I minus minus in that case. You don't want to. So alternatively, you could start at the end and just go back. So set I to be nums.size minus 1. You're going to go through the loop until you're greater than or equal to 0. You want to make sure you check the object in spot 0. And you're going backwards by 1. So you're doing an I minus minus instead of an I plus plus every time. And then I could just do this, right? So kind of do the same loop and say if nums.getI is an even number, then I'll remove it. And that's another way to run this. And again, we will see that this also works and gets rid of all the evens. So either go backwards or do the I minus minus every time you remove something. Okay, that's this. Look out for this anytime you have to remove something from the list. This turns out to be really useful. Thanks for watching, guys.